When Fred Glass announces you as the new head coach of IU basketball, what goes through your mind before you step up to the podium?
It's real. It's real. It's official. And, you step up to the podium and at that point in time you represent a lot of things that are a lot bigger than you individually, and there's a lot of people that really care about, number one, what you're getting ready to talk about, and you have a responsibility at that point in time to, one, set the tone, but two, really explain sort of why you're here and why it's so special to be here.
Growing up in Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania, your dad's a high school basketball coach, your brother Sean, 10 years older. What's a typical day like in the Miller household growing up during the basketball season?
Well, during the basketball season, it was simple. I mean, you're going to school, and your dad's in the school, and you're either in the gym, before you get going, and then once classes start to get going, you sort of go through your day, and you find a study hall in the middle, and you go back to the gym, and you're recording shots or doing whatever you are, and basketball practice at that point in time was everything, and you never really knew how the ride home was going to go, depending on how you performed or how you were, getting the job done, so to speak. But everything always came back to the same thing: improving. You were always on a quest to get better. Whether you liked to hear that you weren't getting the job done or you were, it really didn't matter. It was about the next day, and you had to keep working. And I think that was the biggest thing that you could take growing up in my house, was just, it was on a constant quest to work and get better.
You played at NC State, top 10 in three-pointers when you graduated. How would Archie Miller coach Archie Miller, the player?
I'd let him shoot every time he got the ball.
That's probably wise advice.
I'd let him shoot a ball every time he got it. No, I mean, honestly, I was a coach's player. I was a player's coach. I knew the game. Tried to be an extension as much as I could of what the coaching staff wanted. I didn't always agree with everything that went on, just like everybody else, but to me, I tried to be a sounding board. And anytime you can have a guy out there that sort of looks you in the eye and kind of says, "I got you," that's what you want to have out there. And to me, playing the game was fun.
Recruiting is the lifeblood of IU basketball. No richer, no more fertile ground when it comes to high school basketball than the state of Indiana. In recent years, a lot of players have gone out of state. You at Ohio State helped recruit Deshaun Thomas over there, a former Indiana Mr. Basketball. How do you try to put a fence around the state of Indiana so that the best players stay here?
Well, I think that everyone in the state needs to know that that's our they need to know that's serious business for us. The high school coaches, the high school talent, the grassroots talent, the families in this state, they need to understand that when we come in and we want somebody, that that's what we mean. And I think we will spend an abnormal amount of time in the state. I think we need to do a great job of understanding, though, that people should want to give their sons to us, because they're not only coming to a great place, they're going to get treated right. And I think those relationships that we start to build here early on, the conversations, they can't be false. They have to be real, and we have to be as genuine as we possibly can in terms of our time with them. And over the course of time, when you have that mentality with this brand, typically good things will happen.
You've coached at Western Kentucky, you've coached at NC State, you've coached at Arizona, you've coached at Dayton. How many red ties do you own in your closet?
I'd say there's probably about 40 to 45 red.
That's lower than I would have thought.
Well, some of them have blue in them. The red and blue ones, I count those a little differently, straight red. But
are they thrown out now?
We're going with straight crimson around here. That's all we're going to work with, and try to keep it simple but clean. But yeah, unfortunately for me, I'm superstitious, so if we win with one tie, I just keep wearing it. And we've had some instances where some ties have gotten pretty beat up, so they're probably due for the trash anyway.
I'm a pretty sweaty guy myself. Watching your brother Sean coach, though, I kind of marvel at his ability to perspire. Is that a genetic trait?
I hope not. I hope not. I don't think that I've been quite like him over there on the sideline. But I will tell you, some of these arenas and some of these games, they get highly contested. It's hot, and they're making you wear a suit, so you can expect it to be a little bit perspiration going on.
You've come through Bloomington as an assistant coach before. During those times, what was your impression of the basketball program here in Bloomington, and what is your perception of it now that you're leading the program?
Well, I've been here on a couple different occasions, and I've seen seen Eric Gordon playing here, and I've also seen when Coach Crane, inherited, a situation that wasn't very good. The thing I always came away with, regardless of the players on the floor, were the fans. It was an amazing environment to be in. It was an amazing sort of lightning rod for those players in this building to get the job done. And I always stated that, like, some of the best places I've ever been, I have the best fans. And clearly, as I've left Assembly Hall on a few nights when I was an assistant on an opposing team, I came away impressed and probably thought it was one of the best places I've ever been.
Ryan Joseph Miller, that's the given name, but you go by Archie. Apparently that nickname given to you because you had the personality of Archie Bunker as a kid.
I think I was pretty miserable. I made things miserable on people, ornery. It stuck. I don't ever remember being called anything else. I became a coach, and then it was Coach Arch or Coach Archie, whatever it may have been. And it's been a really unique thing, but my mom doesn't really appreciate it.
I was going to say, you and I are the same age, so I know that show was before your time. When you watch it now, are you like, ooh, maybe I should have changed that nickname or maybe get rid of it? You just have to keep it?
It was way before my time, and I think a lot of people probably have gotten a hold of the story as I've gotten older. When I was younger, I don't think a lot of people really realized why they called me that, but nowadays, I don't really remember the show, let alone the guys I'm coaching.
Speaking of the guys that you were coaching, May 12th, 2016, you get the phone call. New Haven native Steve McIlvaine dies suddenly of cardiac issues. How do you approach that as a coach? Because you're grieving yourself, but you have to be a leader and be a beacon for young men.
Probably one of the hardest days I've ever experienced. And not only was it hard to hear, or really unreal to hear, but it was really, really hard to watch the pain on your players, watch the pain on your assistant coaches. Very, very rarely as a coach are you ever in a situation where the people around you are all devastated, just completely and totally devastated. And at the same time, you're rock bottom as well. And what I kind of figured out was there wasn't really a stand-up speech that I was going to give that was going to help anyone, including me. And we sort of approached that as a family and kind of stood up there and just said, look, I don't have the answers right now, and I'm probably never going to have the answers for you, but at the same time, we're going to have to find a way to pick ourselves up and kind of walk together. And it was a slow walk. It really was. The off season wasn't a regular off season for us. The preseason definitely wasn't a preseason that was normal for us. It just felt like there was a cloud and there were some things around us that we couldn't get away from. And we had a moment at the start of the season where we were able to bring back Steve's family and honor them with Steve's championship ring, because he never got it from our regular season championship that he played in. And to watch our fans at UD Arena and see his family in the middle of the floor for the last time, or at least one more time, I think kind of alleviated a lot of the pressure, that there was a great supporting cast around him.
Kind of a two-part question to follow up on that. How did that make you change as a leader? And also, was there anything you changed in your health preparation? Because according to your president, his heart had been tested during the season. He passed. Obviously, that's a condition that generally doesn't show up. But have you made any changes in what you do health-wise based on that to kind of ensure that that doesn't happen again?
The first part of the question is, what has it done for you as a leader? I think you have to take a step back every once in a while, and everybody wants to talk about the banners and they want to talk about the championships, and you have to understand you're dealing with young people. Take a step back every once in a while and look at them as a person, not a basketball player. Appreciate them for, everything they go through when they get here, and appreciate them a little bit for what, they're giving you. And, because you just don't know. One day you come back the next day and anything can happen. That's what I realized. So, as serious and as intense and as high-pressured situations as you're going to be in, every once in a while you have to take a little bit of a step back and just see, how is the person doing? And change that way a little bit. In terms of health care, some things you'll never be able to predict. We know that. But I do think that, from my standpoint, the most we can do, the the more we can do. If there's more money that needs to be sent, please spend the money, because you can never detect one of those instances and save a kid's life. You know, there's a lot of people that don't have to go through, you know, that loss. And you know, I even have said in time, you know, maybe the NCAA, you know, with as much money as they're making right now, should invest in more testing for student athletes in general, because I don't know if anyone else has ever felt like I felt that day, but I know this: if it could have been prevented, and Steve would have never probably played another basketball game if he'd have been here today, you know, that would have been a big win in itself.
What's priority number one for you in this program?
Players. Nothing means more to me than the players. Our guys are the most important aspects of what we do every day. There isn't one decision that I can make that won't go in and around what we do for them. And if we stay the course with that, everything else will sort of take care of itself, because your best recruiters are your players. Your best way of pleasing the fans are your players. Everything starts and stops with the guys on the team.
5 national championship banners sitting behind your head right now. That's the goal, is to add a 6th banner. Pressure or a wanted expectation for you?
I'd say the latter. There is pressure. There's pressure everywhere on everybody, though. And I'd rather be here trying to accomplish something special that can change lives and create memories for a lifetime, than not having that opportunity at all, or never even having the ability for somebody to think you can do it. If you're a competitor, you want to be the best. If you're a college basketball coach, why wouldn't you want to be at the best unless you feel like you're not worthy? And not that I'm the best coach in the world, but I will tell you this: there isn't a person in the world that doesn't understand sort of the stakes, but I feel really confident in what we do.
Style-wise, transition up and down, is that the kind of offense that we're going to see, and what are some of the expectations? Yeah, X's and O's.
You know, makes and misses the ball will move, and we want to play on the run, and we want to play with great space, and I think we want to be a team that attacks the rim. You know, we have to play inside out. We've always been a philosophy of getting to the foul line. It's been something we've always taken great pride in, and if you've ever watched our teams play when we're at our best, the ball moves and guys share it. Defensively, you know, we have to become a team that feels we can win a game regardless of how we're playing. We have to find a way with 6 minutes to go, down 4, to get the stops. And that's something that is as challenging as anything, is to build a culture with a defensive mindset that it's important. But you know, we were able to get that done at Dayton. It's one of the reasons we had a lot of success. I feel like we have a great system intact, and with the talent that we have and the talent that we will have, it's going to be something that's non-negotiable.
Final question from me. Press conference, you seem pretty stoic, but very fiery from what I've seen on the sideline. What's that motion going to be like when you walk out to Assembly Hall the first time this coming season and realize all eyes are on me, I'm leading the IU Hoosiers?
Yeah, I don't think you can worry about all the eyes. I think you have to be yourself, because if you're not yourself, you're not going to be at your best for your players. I do think that with this type of spotlight and this type of crowd, you're going to have a lot of help. You don't have to get as emotional with officials or fired up as you may want to. That doesn't mean you're not going to, but I think there's enough people in here that will help me do that. But for me, I have to be myself. And if I'm not myself every day in practice and I don't translate that to the game, our players won't know where I'm coming from. I think if they have a consistent me, then they'll know where I'm coming from at all times, including the game.